my name is Rebecca Powers with SLCT, and here's what's happening in Sterling and Lancaster. The Sterling Spooky Walk will take place on October 23rd at 5 p.m. This event takes place on Route 12 in downtown Sterling and involves hundreds of children dressed in their Halloween best. The children will be crossing the street en masse, so please drive extra slow through town that day. There will be a special Lancaster Town meeting on November 6th at the Mary Rawlinson Elementary School Auditorium at 7 p.m. There will also be a special Sterling Annual Town meeting on November 14th at the Choxet Middle School Gymnasium at 7 p.m. The Lancaster Historical Society will hold their first meeting of the fall on October 15th. The program will be a guided tour of the Old Settlers Burial Yard and Middle Cemetery on Route 70. Participants are asked to meet at the entrance of the Middle Cemetery at 2 p.m.
I'm Lex Thomas, editor of Sterling Meeting House News and editor-at-large for Sterling-Lancaster Community Television. One of the things that I love about working and living in this community is that I'm always learning something new. And what I have learned is that Lancaster is the first town in Massachusetts and one of the first in the nation to have an Accessibility Awareness Month, and that is happening right now during October. I am delighted to have with me today Laurie Doucette. She is a member of the Lancaster Commission on Disability, and her husband Gino. They are here very generously to talk about some of the work that you're doing and some of the challenges that you face as a person with accessibility issues in our community. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
So tell me first a little bit about the Commission. What is it the Commission does and what's your role on that?
The Commission on Disability in Lancaster is a group right now where 6 members they're volunteers, and we try to determine what is accessible for people in Lancaster who have disabilities, and we try to make it more accessible and accommodating to them, so that they can live within the community and enjoy the different aspects of the community, and going, just simple things like going to the bank or to the church or enjoying a meal at a restaurant.
Now, I understand that your disability, your accessibility issues began about 10 years ago. So you had lived your life previously as a person without these issues, and then this happened. What do you see as being major challenges that people with accessibility issues face?
One of the biggest challenges is when you go someplace is the restroom issue, and is trying to get into the restroom itself. The door is usually very heavy, and sometimes you can't push it open to enter it, and you have to rely on someone else to open the door, inside or outside.
Now that's a really interesting point, because now Gino is your spouse and your caregiver. And one of the things in our conversation just before we started taping that of course I had never thought of, that of course when you are entering a restroom that's a ladies' restroom, you cannot go in there unless it's a place that has a dedicated disabled bathroom.
Correct.
So how do you work that?
Well, I open the door with the wheelchair that she can get in. Sometimes she uses a walker. It all depends on the day, because some days she can use the walker and go in. But lately it's been the wheelchair. So I basically open the door and give her a little shove in, and she's on her own at that point. And my biggest fear is her falling.
And that's a huge worry.
Yes, and I'm outside waiting, hoping each time this happens, I worry about her falling.
Of course, and hoping that she's okay in there.
Correct. And if I see a woman coming by, I ask if you would mind checking on my wife Laurie, see if she's okay.
Now, how do you normally find members of the public in terms of being helpful or being willing to do that?
Most times they're very helpful. They'll
Yeah.
open the door for the restroom or even entering a facility, whether it be a business or, and they just, they'll hold the door open for us, which is great. We're a great team, though.
I can see
And-
that.
And you have to be,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
there's. And I think one of the things too, Gino, that you expressed to me as well is that not every day is a good day.
Correct.
It's so that's something that you have to adjust to as well.
Right. And mostly in the morning it's great. I would say around 2 o'clock on, she's very tired at that point. Sometimes she takes a nap, which then we can do something in the evening. Go to, like we got like the movies or go out to eat with some friends.
Sure.
And there again, that could be another problem. Just parking the car. Some of the things, they got the ramps, some places they don't.
And if they don't have a ramp, what do you? Can you?
Well, basically, I have to pull it backwards over the curving.
which is, that becomes a hindrance also, he's either using his back or he's pulling me up or.
Sure. And that also, so not only is that difficult for you, but it can't be comfortable for you, Laurie, if you're being, in the chair being maneuvered around
Right,
and whatnot.
Well, I just recently found another problem. These big stores you go into, they just to buy clothing, the aisles are so narrow for the wheelchair, and you're knocking stuff over, and I'm constantly picking it up, putting it on the rack again, because it's not wide enough. And these are big stores.
And that's something that I've heard people complaining about, not only in stores but also in restaurants. And I think from the retailers or from the restaurateurs' point of view, clearly they're trying to get as much inventory in there as possible or as many customers in there as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't make it easy to maneuver when you have that space.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things too that I think people don't necessarily realize, and I've seen this time again, I'll go to the supermarket and you'll see the disabled parking spot, and then people have left carts on that part that it has the little lines on it, and people don't realize that is part of the disabled space.
Correct.
And what you need that for. What do they need that space for?
Mainly to open up the door to get the wheelchair in that spot. Because I need the room to move it around.
Sure.
Or if they have a van that has a wheelchair that's accessible, they need room to accommodate getting out.
When I drive the van for the town of Lancaster, I use the lift, and it's very important to me because I have not just Laurie, I have a number of people on the bus taking off with wheelchairs and walkers. I need all that space, like the post office.
Sure.
In Lancaster, it's well taken care of, and there are always people there that somewhat to open the door, or I just do it for the others.
Now, how about restaurants? How do you find that? How do you navigate that?
Most restaurants are okay. There are some, what they say is accommodating is not accommodating.
There's a couple of Leominster we found out that she couldn't even use it. It was so bad we had to go somewhere else.
Right. Yeah.
It marked handicap, and she couldn't even
But
get
Sometimes the soap dispenser is too high, or the towel dispenser is too high, so, or you can't shut the restroom door properly.
Sure.
It's always.
Now, what is the purpose of Accessibility Awareness Month? What is the message that you, first, Laurie, as somebody that is either walker or wheelchair bound, what is the message?
The message is that for others to be aware of the difficulties and the challenges that we face. We don't want to be totally dependent on others. We want to be able to still maintain our independence. And the best way to do that is to accommodate us.
Sure.
In ways we might not be able to do it the same way that we were used to, or that someone who's very capable of doing it, but we still want to do it, and we have to do it a different way. So help us to meet those challenges.
And Gino, from your perspective as a spouse and as a caregiver, what's your message?
Just reaching out, doing the best I can
Yeah.
for her and also other people who are disabled. Because it's hard out there. It opened up my eyes. I mean, I just got in this with Laurie, and that's when it opened up my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it opened up my eyes a little bit before that because I was driving the bus for
The
Lancaster.
senior van, right.
But when I'm faced it every day, it's totally different.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, picking up people, dropping them off, it's one thing,
Mm-hmm.
but living every day.
Even if you use a cane and you go into a restroom or you go shopping, it's like, okay, well, now what do I do with the cane? So you lean it up against something and it falls. Now everybody knows the cane fell. So if there was like a little hook or something that you could, put your cane on,
Sure.
so now it's not on a dirty floor.
Of course.
So you want things safe and you want things sanitary.
Sure. And not only on a dirty floor, but then somehow you've got to get down there to retrieve
But try to
the
get
cane.
down there and try not to fall.
Right, right.
So it's
Well, congratulations for your work on the commission. I think this is incredible that Lancaster has this happening, and I think the public awareness of this is so
And
important as well.
the commission has a lot of resources that are available to people, and we can't make the phone calls, but we have the resources that we'll be glad to share with everyone in the community or anyone who needs the information. There's a lot of resources out there.
And can people attend the commission meetings?
Anytime.
When are the meetings?
The meetings are on the third Tuesday of every month, and anyone is welcome to attend.
And where do they take place?
They take place at the Senior Center Community Center in Lancaster from 6 to 8 on Tuesdays.
All right, so very, very well worth stopping in to see that. Thank you so much for joining me and for sharing your story, and all the best to you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
The Sterling Senior Center will host a book club meeting on October 25th at 12:30 p.m. The book being discussed will be The Obsession by Nora Roberts. For more information, contact the Senior Center at 978-422-3032. The Sterling Senior Center will also hold an annual Halloween luncheon on October 31st at 11:30 a.m. Pizza and spooky desserts will be served. Halloween-themed games will be played. For more information, call 978-422-3032. The Sterling Recreation Department's fall and winter activity list is now out and registration has begun. To see the full list of activities offered, visit www.sterlingrec.com. The Lancaster Recreation Committee is looking for new members. For more information on how you can be a part of this group, contact Joe Kennedy at kennedy2004@comcast.net. I'm Rebecca Powers, and that's what's happening.